Welcome back to another episode of Now That's Debatable with myself, Sidney Smith, and my brother and co-host Dion Curry. Hope you guys had a great weekend. We got a couple things we want to jump into. We got a great show lined up for you. I see someone already in here with us saying hi, guys. Hello. We got a great show lined up for you. We are going to get into some Chris Rock talk. I want to say Chris Rock slander. We'll also review the special Selective Outrage that just dropped on Netflix Saturday. First time that they've ever done a live anything. So I thought that was something to see them trying to pull that off there. Oh, what up, bro? He says, I'm back, bro. What's good? What's up? I see you, bro. Good to see you. And then we're going to get into a story about a high school basketball team that forfeited, excuse me, folks, a little bit of a headache and a dry throat tonight, who forfeited a game because they did not want to play against a transgender female. So we're going to get in that too. But before we do, let me bring my brother Dion Curry in, see how his weekend went, how's his day, how's life, what's good, bro?
Happy Monday to everybody watching. There is a little bit of a lag on my end. I don't know what's going on. I've restarted my phone and the Wi-Fi, but we're just gonna have to make do. The weekend was good. Had the graduation show for my students on Sunday. Nice little turnout. All the
Okay.
students did well, so it's a good weekend. And watched the Chris Rock special, so I'm ready to talk about that.
How was the show? How was the graduation show?
It was good. It was good. Had seven students. They all, for the most part, did fairly well considering a 7 week course. Some of them started with absolutely nothing, and to get a decent 8 minutes out of a 7 week class, I was pretty proud of.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I see, Dion, can you see the names here? I see a Facebook user that says, hi, guys. I see another one that says, found you. You
That's Mary Ballard and Susie Myers Adams. Hey,
all
Miss
right.
Susie.
What's up, Miss
Hey,
Susie?
Mary.
Glad that both of you are with us. A couple of our favorites. Hey, bro, I wanted to scroll that at the bottom. I see you asking when's my next show. I keep all my dates there at that website that's scrolling at the bottom, so I'm gonna let that scroll past. If you can go there, what I would say, check that out, lock that in on your phone. I put all dates that are gonna be coming up. Everything that I'm doing is gonna be on there if you want to come out to something. So I'm glad that you're on here, man. Hopefully you enjoyed this show. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this real quick here. So Chris Rock had his first special in a couple of years on Netflix. I was excited to see the special myself for a couple of reasons. One, I'm a huge Chris Rock fan. Deanna, can you hear me okay? You froze a little bit.
Yeah, I can hear you. I
Okay,
don't know what's going on. I can hear you just fine, but the video is lagging for whatever reason.
okay. I'm a huge Chris Rock guy. That is my guy. But with all things, I try to be as impartial as possible. His last special, as much as I loved him, was not his best. I was one of the first ones to say that. While I can appreciate what he was trying to do, it wasn't his greatest work, in my humble opinion. But it was still better than a lot of people's work. This last special, I was really excited to see it because I had a chance to see him working that material last June when he came to Phoenix. Then my wife and I both had a chance to see it. Then we had to see him, got a chance to see him again later in last year when he came back with Dave Chappelle, and just got to see it tighten up. And Dion would understand this as a comic to comic. When you're seeing someone work and just seeing their progression, it's something to see it. And when you're seeing a master like Chris doing it, it just takes it to another level. So I was very excited to see the special on Netflix. I could see where he had made some changes, added some things here, moved some jokes around, as we often do when we're trying to build a new set. So I thought it was very good. Normally I let Dion start, but I do want to say that because I want to make sure everybody knew where I stood to start. That's where I am. I thought the special was good. If anybody out there disagrees, we do want to hear from you. We do want to debate that with you. So please let your thoughts be known. Dion, what did you think of the special?
First off, I want to say that Chris has always been one of my comedy role models, who I kind of pattern some of the things that I do on stage after. After seeing Bring the Pain, I was hooked. Always been a huge Chris Rock fan. I agree with you on what you said about the special prior Tambourine.
Tambourine.
Wasn't his best work. I actually saw him when he came to Indy when he was working on that one. I got to see him, try and put that together. Last night's special, it's um, more vintage Chris Rock, I would say. Granted, he had that flub at the end where he kind of messed up the joke, and it was one of those things where it was live, so you couldn't go back and edit it, which I think kind of dampened the special just a little bit because it wasn't, you know, smooth and perfected, but you could tell he was really in his emotions at that point as far as, the things he was talking about, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But I rank it up there with Bring the Pain and Bigger and Blacker.
Hey guys, I want to remind you, go ahead, please click the share button if you will. I know we have quite a few people who watch, and a few of you do it each and every week. Sorry to sound like a broken record, but it does help. So if you guys could go ahead and click that share button. Also, I was in such a hurry to jump into this damn thing. I want to thank our Patreon members out there. You guys help us bring this show each and every week. We do appreciate you. We love you. We adore you. Dion and I had a great weekend of doing our bonus show for our Patreon members. I think that ended up being about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half worth of show. So if you have not had the chance to check it out, if you're a Patreon member, I would strongly suggest that you do. And then we had a great chance to sit down and talk for about an hour with our $50 patron. And we had a great conversation. That was about an hour. So Dion and I put in overtime, man. We put about 2.5 hours or so overtime in for this show. But that's how much we love it. That's how much we love you guys. If you want to become a Patreon member, it's super, super easy. Go ahead and go to the website there. Click on the Patreon button. It'll take you there. You can do it for as little as $1. I'll let that scroll a couple of times. But thank you to our Patreon members for helping us bring this show to you each and every week. Dion, there's been a lot of backlash. And for me, I thought it was just people looking for they're trying to find clickable articles to put up online because that's what everyone seems to care about to me with the magazines. No one wants to read a magazine anymore. No one really wants to read a newspaper. So everyone, all of them across the board have really went to this thing where, hey, we got to figure out how we can be on the opposite side of something so we can attract eyeballs. So someone will click on this and read this article and have this contrived argument within 6 or 7 paragraphs. There was a Nadine White, a black journalist with the Independent. Her title is race correspondent. That is her title for the Independent, which I found to be an odd title. But she went on and she had different issues with Chris and the special. She tried to go and say Chris has for many years made his entire career about, and I'm paraphrasing here, but just embarrassing black people in front of white audiences. Something that kind of caught my eye was when she referred to Jada's alopecia as a health condition. I am so tired of them trying to act as if alopecia. And what I went and did today is I looked up alopecia on Google. And nowhere in there did it have anything to say about this being a illness which you will die from, anything, there's any type of severity that's going to come along with having alopecia. I think the most severe thing is said could happen and does not happen to everyone with alopecia is that your eyelashes or your nostril hairs you may lose those. That's the extent of this health condition that everyone wants to keep bringing to the forefront as if Chris Rock is teasing a cancer patient.
Yeah, for me, it's a huge stretch. Chris said it in the special that Jada started it by saying he should have gotten fired from the Oscars because Will Smith didn't win an Oscar for concussion. So if you want to take it there, that's where his back and forth with her begins. Um, Alopecia, having your hair fall out, especially as a woman, obviously can do something to your self esteem. So I'm not gonna go down that road and say that, it's not that big a deal because I don't know what people who have that deal with mentally as far as their self-esteem is concerned and how important hair is. If all my hair falls out, all my hair falls out. Um, I mean, Sydney, you see the way I dress. I don't really care about my appearance that much. So it's one of those things where you deal with it, you move on. 50% of the people ain't gonna like you for whatever reason anyway, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I think that was a a very low hanging fruit for them to grab on to try to make it seem like Chris was a bad person. As far as his embarrassing black people in front of white audiences, I mean, he got slapped at the Oscars, and you're talking about black people embarrassing other black people in front of white people. Like, make it make sense.
I myself, when it comes to the alopecia, if it was anyone else, maybe I'd give some leeway here. But Jada has been rocking this hair low cut forever. They act as if Jada has been someone with these long flowing natural locks since the first time you've seen her on screen. And she hasn't been. She never has been. This has never been a thing. So I won't let you go at this man and let this be the only bullet you have in the gun. You gotta come with something else. You have to come with something else. I know people like to. Uh, I think you sent me a clip, or you told me that people were doing that. I've seen a couple other places where they were trying to bring up the fact that Chris Rock sat on screen with Louis C.K. and Ricky Gervais and let them use the N word repeatedly without correcting them, and wanted to make a big deal about that now as well.
Yeah, I've always been of the mindset that people are going to say what they want to say. You check them when it's appropriate. I think Chris should have checked Louis C.K. and Ricky Gervais. I think Seinfeld should have checked them too, but he did not. He just said that he doesn't want to partake in the funny of that word. In the context of what how they were using it, Chris was saying that Louis C.K. is a white nigga, basically, and Louis C.K. was agreeing to that, and then Ricky Gervais was like, "I don't use the word," and then he said the word, and that was really awkward. So, as far as look, man, this is the thing. His job at the Oscars was to be funny and present the show, and he's done a remarkable job at it. That's why they had him back so many times. Um, Whether you like a joke or not is irrelevant. Um, at the end of the day, it's the attempt that you get paid for. Um, and if it doesn't go over, it doesn't go over. All this cancel, you take your career away because we didn't like what you said. If you don't like it, turn it off. I don't watch the Kardashians because I don't like what they do. I don't go out and try to boycott them and get their livelihoods taken away. I just simply don't partake in what they do. I'm not trying to stop other people who enjoy it from watching it. It's just not my cup of tea. And I feel like this country has really gotten so far away from, you know, just if you don't like something, ignore it, leave it alone. Like it's not life threatening.
One of my best, uh, one of my favorite parts of the special, and I saw it again back in June, and I saw it again when he came back, and I was interested to see what he's going to do with it. But it's the Meghan Markle bits, and to be honest with you, because we're always honest, part of it is I don't like her. I didn't like her when she was in Suits. I didn't care for her then, and I didn't care for her after they started plastering her face all over every newspaper, every newscast that they could because she started dating uh, Harry as well. And so I really loved his take on Meghan Markle, the racism, the oh I didn't know, the whole deal, the whole they wanted to know what color, how dark the baby was gonna be, just his whole way he broke that down. I thought it was classic Chris. I thought it was so good.
I don't know anything about Meghan Markle, don't care to know anything about Meghan Markle, but when you listen to what he was saying about her selective outrage, I would have to agree with them. Black people have always been of the mindset that that we don't want dark babies for whatever reason, and I think they said it on the post rap show. If you have a lighter skinned baby, the chances of them having an easier life is better. I think I can't remember the light skinned person they mentioned, but then they brought up Leslie Jones and how much harder her life is because she's a darker complected woman. And I thought that was a poignant observation that it does exist within the black community that people want to act like we don't. they don't know this conversation happens, and to me that's ridiculous. It's then you take it to the royal family. Hello, colonialism is deeply rooted in supremacy of one group over another. So I, that whole excuse to me makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, and I like and the reason I like that Chris did it was because he explained it to the rest of the world that this is something that we do within our own community. Megan wants you to think as if this is a foreign thing. This isn't. As if this was only a white person's thing. It wasn't. It isn't. And maybe they did ask, but it's not uh, uh, something that only that they would do. If she was married to a black guy, guaranteed someone in that family from Mississippi, Georgia, somewhere would look behind them ears and ask that same question. Let's see here. Looking at some of the comments
We
here.
got some
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
good comments.
Go ahead. You go ahead. You see some good ones there.
Tamiko's in here. She says, "What's up, y'all?"
What up? What up, Tamiko?
She said, "She said I enjoyed he got his lick back. Period." Mary Ballard says, "I'm not a huge Chris Rock fan, which is funny because I love the two of you. That said, the special was good, but glad that I didn't go out to pay to see it." Uh, and then Mary says, "These guys are worth at least $1 a month. They need our support." Thank you, Mary,
And guess what? That
for
goes on the screen.
shouting out the Patreon.
Yep, that goes on the screen. So thank you, Mary. She said these guys are worth at least $1. What's the next one you got?
She should get
The
the
trifecta?
trifecta for that
You know what?
comment.
She should get it.
Yeah.
You're right. You're a applause. All right, what we got else? We got Dia.
Let's see. Tamiko says, "Y'all, it's jokes, it's comedy. Nobody is safe. Not your mama, not Big Mama, not your bald head auntie. Get over it and laugh." That's
And,
hilarious, Tamiko.
and Tamiko, you're absolutely right. And that's the other thing, man. To Dion's point, if you don't like something, more than anything, just get up. I've had black people get up and leave a show, sitting right down front, and I'm getting ready to go in on black people. I have had 8 of them, a family, just get up, center, front row, center, get up, and just walk out a packed comedy club room. And I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. And so should any comic because again, Dion said, as Dion said, we get paid for the attempt. So if you don't like something, leave. If you don't like what you're watching on television, turn it off. It's pure, plain, and simple.
It's very easy to not support something you don't like. You know what I mean? Like if you don't like Nike, don't buy their shoes. If you don't like Netflix, don't get a subscription. If you don't like a comedian's jokes, don't listen to that comedian. The extra effort it takes to go and try to ban something because you simply just don't like what was said is a lot different for me than something that's ab- actually detrimental to your health or well-being. You know, all these people out here saying Will should have slapped him and I wish he'd have slapped him again and all this other stuff. I'm like, are you guys serious over a joke? It's not like he cost Jada money. It's not like he cost uh, Jada to be physically hurt in any way. She didn't lose anything. It was simply a GI Jane joke. And to be fair, all of their issues, like when those two people get brought up, they put out into the public. So it's not like somebody dug through their trash and found pictures of August Alsina and Jada. No, she took it to the red table and showed the whole world that yeah, she did the thing that embarrassed her husband more than I think anything else on the earth that you could do.
I read an article today. I wanted to say, I didn't write the person's name down, but she is another female writer, and she wrote this her story again. I think just looking for shit. But no, you know what? No, this was actually a a Twitter a tweet, and someone said, "Big deal. He just wasted time talking about something that the whole world already knew because these two had already shared that they have an open marriage. And the only thing I thought about, because it was the first thing that came to my mind, was you don't know what you're talking about. Because if you had watched that Red Table Talk, really watched it, Will looked hurt and embarrassed when they were having this conversation, when Jada was putting this on the table. Almost like she did not, like, almost like there was no pre-show meeting. Like he had no idea we were talking about this specifically. So saying, yeah, we have an open marriage and I love her for that and she loves me for that is one thing. But naming names, especially when it's someone who's that young, someone you were supposed to be having a mentoring relationship with, bringing him under your wing, and as Chris put it, he's supposed to have been the friend of your son. That's completely two different things. You're never going to get me to believe that Will was not completely embarrassed and devastated in front of the entire world by that woman.
As far as the open marriage goes, look, there's even boundaries within that. You don't, if Will goes out and sleeps with one of his co-stars in the movie, that's one thing. It's another thing to pick somebody Will knows just as well as you do and sleep with them in Will's bed. Like to me, that is the most grimy aspect of this whole situation, and why I don't give her a pass is because she knew what she was doing. She knew how to hurt him, and she did it multiple times. To which I say, fuck her for that. And all these women on Twitter and these blogs are talking about you got to protect women, protect women, protect women. I'm like, when are they going to protect themselves? She did the behavior that got that family in the situation that it is. Nobody else. So I don't want to hear all this. Chris Rock was wrong for this, and Will Smith was wrong for that. She knew from the get go that she did not love that man the way that he loved her. And instead of being the bigger person and walking away, she done dragged this man's name through the mud to the point where, on the biggest night of his professional career, she gave him a look that made him go up there and ruin it for everybody. So
Everybody,
fuck all that.
everybody. Uh, I want to go back to the comments, but quick side note: Dion, was it a weird? Is it just me? And you guys could talk about this too because you watched it, obviously. Was it a weird choice, or was it just me that they picked Dana Carvey and David Spade to be the two hosts?
Uh,
Go ahead.
that was the weird. That whole panel was awkward as hell to me, to the point where it made me not even want to watch it. I sat through it begrudgingly, and I was hoping it would get better, and it never did. Arsenio Hall was probably the only person up there who said anything worth saying. Um, Kareem looked like he was ready to go to bed. Uh, I have no idea who that black woman is. I
She's
had
from
never seen
Insecure.
her
She's
before.
from
She could have.
Insecure.
Okay. I thought she might have been selling popsicles or something. I don't. I didn't know what she was doing up there. Freaking JB Smooth telling long-winded stories that don't go nowhere with the same
Log.
joke over and over and over again. I was like, oh my goodness, it was
What?
awful.
So Data and David, and David, one of the nicest guys I ever met. So I want to say that, but just weird to have them hosting it. And then why was Kareem a part of it? I never got the explanation why Kareem was up there.
It's like he lost the bet or something, and so he's like, all right, I'll go do this bullshit.
It's like someone's throwing him a bone. You know, LeBron just took your title for the short. This is what I got you. I got you some
Maybe he's
shit
trying to
lined up.
beat Tom Brady to the stand-up punch. That's what it is.
It was the worst. D, can you read some more? Because I know you can see names. Can you read some more comments?
Let's see. Susie Meyer says, as a person with a genetic disorder that has been teased relentlessly as a child and questioned often as an adult, I will say, I won't die from Curtis Laxa, but that doesn't mean people's words hurt any less.
Okay. And,
Tamiko says, as black people, we know. Go
no,
ahead.
I was gonna say, Miss Susie, for you, I'll kill for you if anyone makes fun of your Curtis Laxa. For Jada Pinkett, someone who's been rocking a bald head for 50 years, I don't want to hear about it.
Let's see. Tamiko says, as black people, we know that light skin, dark skin shit is true. Mary Ballard says, if we can't laugh at ourselves and each other, how sad. In open marriages, more often than not, the out of the marriage partners are friends of the couple or at least all know each other.
Well, who said that? That last one.
Mary Ballard.
Oh, yeah, Mary. I've known some folks who do the open marriage thing, and you're right. But Will Face said, I didn't know about this. Am I wrong, Dion? Am I reading it wrong? I mean, Dion or Will didn't look like he either A, didn't know they were having this conversation, or B, I didn't know you were sleeping with that dude. And because he was really
It,
pressing, like, what are you talking about here? That's when the whole, well, it was an entanglement. And he started pressing her on the use of the word entanglement, if I recall correctly.
to me, again, it's one thing to get an adult, someone who's close to your age. It's another thing to know that boy before he was of legal age, and then do what you did, knowing his struggles and what he went through. So I don't want to hear that. Well, open marriages are with people. Yeah, but you don't sleep with your nephew's best friend. Like you just don't do that. There are rules to it, and I guarantee you that breaks one of them. So I don't want to hear any excuses about her behavior. She was dead wrong for what she did. They should have never put that shit on no Red Table Talk Facebook show. That was a stupid idea. Just further showing that she does not care about this man the way that he cares about her. He built his entire life around making her happy. At every chance she's gotten, she's embarrassed him by bringing up Tupac, by sleeping with her son's best friend at the time, and just being ridiculous. So, you know, for me, watching what Chris Rock did, get his lick back, as Tamiko says, um, it was all fair game at that point. Your man walked up and slapped me. Sydney, you know me. I wouldn't have waited a year. He'd be catching hell until I got tired of giving him hell. So
And you know
kudos to
me.
Chris Rock for being the bigger man in the situation.
And you know me, they wouldn't have been able to have the rest of the Oscar show that night. There's ain't no way. This is about to be a bad night for everybody in the room. That's just how it's about to go down. I will say this.
Chris Rock, hold on,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
before you move on, Chris Rock did lie in that special when he said, "You ain't never seen me in a movie without my shirt on," because in uh, I think it's top five, he's in a scene with Cedric the Entertainer, and they were doing the nasty stuff in there, and he didn't have his shirt on, and I was like, "Ooh, that was a choice." So
You know what's funny? I was trying to think for some reason in Pootie Tang, which is not one of my favorite movies. I thought in Pootie Tang or CB4 he didn't have his shirt on.
I don't think I've ever seen CB4 all the way through. I watched Pootie Tang one time and was upset the entire time
It's
that
not a
everybody
good
told me
movie.
this movie was funny because it is absolute dog shit. And I was very upset.
That's Pootie Tang was the first reason, or the first, yes, the first reason I stopped taking any type of advice from people who smoke weed. Because everybody I know who smoked weed was like, "Oh man, you got to see Pootie Tang. It's so good." I said, "No, I'm out. I'm out on all you weed smoking motherfuckers."
Yeah, that movie was awful.
Just like I can't watch Dave Chappelle's movie. Damn it, I
Half
just
Baked.
I can't watch Half Baked.
Half Baked is better than Pootie Tang. Not by much, but
Yes, you go. It's hard to be worse than Pootie Tang. Hard. And if I ever meet Chris,
I,
go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't know how anybody found anything in that movie funny. I literally watched it and go, "That's not funny. That's not funny. Why did they think that was funny?"
I don't know how it got made. I don't know. The scene I remember the most, and I think it's the dumbest, is the grown woman, trying to show her love from that upstairs window to Pootie Tang when he was a kid. I think he was on a big wheel, right? If I remember correctly, that scene.
I watched it one time. I don't remember
Oh well,
much.
yeah.
I remember him with the magic belt and just it was just I don't even know who that actor is that played Pootie Tang. Like, who is that dude? I haven't seen him in anything since. I don't like. It was just, it was
Pootie Tang
ridiculous.
ended his career. Facebook user, I see Facebook user laughing about your selling popsicles comment.
That's Mary Ballard.
Marissa says David went to my high school. David who? Who you talking about, Marissa? Did I miss something?
I don't know.
Larry Skin says Dana is the worst. I have no idea what he was doing there.
Dana Carvey. I'm assuming she's talking
Oh,
about.
Dana. Oh, Dana.
It
Dana. She's talking
really
about Dana
didn't
Carvey.
make any sense because David Spade and Dana Carvey didn't really talk the whole
Oh, that's
show.
what she's talking about, David. Okay.
It was our David Spade. Okay,
Yeah.
I look. I You said he's a nice guy. I never
Super
met him,
nice.
but everything I've seen him in, it just made me hate him even more. Like, uh, just he was only good in the movie they all did together with Kevin James and Chris Rock and Sandler.
Oh, grown ups.
Grown Ups. I liked him in that movie. That's the only movie I've liked his performance in. Everything else, just he makes my skin crawl for some reason. I don't know why. Like you said, he's probably a nice person, but this is not
Super
for
nice.
me.
Super nice guy. But that's kind of his thing. That's his shtick. His shtick is all the characters. He's not very likable. He's that kind of arrogant little person with little snide comments all the time. That's kind of his thing.
See, he gives me like the Dollar General version of Dennis Leary, and I don't like Dennis Leary at all. So it's like this is even worse.
You said a Dollar General version of Dennis Leary. Did he?
Yeah, like they play the same characters in everything they're in. Just these jerks.
Did you? Did you win the shit on Dennis Leary right behind it? I thought you were gonna say you liked Dennis Leary, but then you
Nah,
win
I fucking
the
can't
shit.
stand Dennis Leary either.
As it says, I was directing that at the reference that it was okay. Someone they knew. Gotcha. Pinky was just nasty where that younger man was concerned. Nasty predator. I would agree with whomever that is.
That was Susie.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Miss Susie. Absolutely. All right. I do want to say this before we spin to our next topic, and I want to hear from you guys if you have a response to it, and Dion definitely want to hear from you on it. I felt like, and I'm basing this again off seeing it before, because watching him work out that set, Dion, the Will Smith stuff
Hmm.
was more in the middle. And I get why he put it to the end. Tamara thought he probably got rid of it. I said, no, he's got to put that on the end because this is what everybody came to see. Whether you're on Netflix or you're sitting in them seats, you came to see him talk about this Will and Jada shit. So he moved it to the end. And I don't know if that affected it or not. But he seemed very much more emotional delivering that material Saturday night as opposed to two times I saw him before. Did he seem emotional to you? Because when I saw him
Oh, he
before,
definitely.
he did not call Jada a bitch. He did not go in on her at all like that. Most of what he said was more directed towards Will. He really went in on Jada a lot more than he had in the two times I saw it before.
Again, for me, I felt like any heat that she gets is warranted because of the behavior she's exhibited over the years. I definitely agree with you that he was super emotional. That's why he messed up the joke that because he was so like you could hear it didn't sound like any of the polished stuff that he had done just minutes before. Like once he started on that topic, you could tell that he had been waiting to get that off his chest. And when he started naming, Charlemagne said he's a bitch. The Breakfast Club called him a bitch. The rappers called him a
That
bitch.
wasn't in
Like
there. That
every
wasn't in
time
there
he's
anywhere.
every time he said that word, it just got more and more aggressive. To which, for me, I felt like it was him saying, "This is the last time I talk about it, but I mean what I say." And he made a point to say that he had loved Will Smith his whole life. and
Didn't
then
say
what
that.
he did. What do you
Go ahead.
mean
He
at
didn't.
the previous shows?
Never said that. Never said that either. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that.
And so he said that he had reached out to Will and he didn't pick up the phone, and then he, when that went down, uh, you know, again, I Will is absolutely wrong for what he did. You know, one, because he's so much bigger than Chris Rock. Two, where he did it. I wouldn't have had any issue had after the show he was like, look, let me talk to you. And if they got into tussling, they got to tussling because he is talking about your wife. And I understand that. And I could respect that on a man level. But what I don't respect is that you laughed, you looked at your wife, saw she was unhappy, and then you decided, I'm going to go up and embarrass everybody. To me, that was just low grade bullshit.
And I think Will laughing shows exactly how serious that alopecia is, doesn't it? Doesn't it show how serious? Doesn't
I can't argue with you there.
it? It shows just how this, Jada Pinkett Smith is just the strongest woman I've ever met, and Will laughing proves it. Yes, definitely emotional, definitely different. He didn't talk about how much he loved Will. Didn't talk about how much he's followed that man's career, loved his music. Did not go all the way in on with using Charlemagne's name and everyone, the Breakfast Club. He did one time say 50. He said, he ain't hit 50. He did use that somewhere, but I didn't. He didn't use that last night. Definitely was not that emotional, and I think part of it was probably like you said. The Oscars are next week, so you got that. They're going to be really talking about it again, I'm sure, even if he hadn't done the special. He moved it, put it towards the end, so he had to save himself to it. So that emotion probably came out as well, but it was definitely different. But I'm with you. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Even if you take that last piece off, it was still back to more classic Chris. The way he can spin information into a joke and get that punchline. I thought, what's his name? What am I thinking about? The white comic who has the show that's been on HBO forever. The talk show on HBO. He's the atheist, political comic. Thank
Bill
you,
Maher.
Bill. Thank you. Bill Maher said something, and I'm gonna paraphrase him. He said, "Hey, this guy gets all the information out there, but never forgets the jokes. That's one of the great things about him. He gives you all that information, but he still gives you a funny joke to go along with it. And a lot of comics forget that part. So I love that Bill Maher said that. But I thought it was very good. I thought it was well done, up and above beyond Tambourine. Obviously, you can never reach. He'll never be able to reach where he was with those few specials he had during the '90s or the early 2000s because those were just phenomenal. But I thought this was close to that, much more than Tambourine was.
Yeah, I think what Chris Rock does better than anybody else out there is he brings the truth to the humor.
Great
He
way.
will talk about a subject in such an honest way, and then he layers that with funny on top, which mind boggled me to read on Twitter that people have been saying that he ain't never been funny. I'm like, I don't know how anybody could ever say that the man ain't been funny. Like, you go
Crazy.
watch Bring the Pain right now. It was made in the mid '90s, and that shit is still funny today. So the idea that this man doesn't know comedy is ridiculous. You might not like all his jokes, all his takes, but there's always truth in them, and there's always something in there to go, huh, I never thought of it that way. And that is the main reason why he is one of the people I look up to in stand up comedy, because that brand of truth with humor on top of it is just chef's kiss, man.
People who say that, I would love to know what you think is funny. What would show me what you think is funny when you say one of the greatest comedians of all time is not funny. Show me what you think is funny. I would love to see it.
I I
Go ahead.
guarantee you could go to a barbershop and hear it. I guarantee you that.
Hear that they don't think Chris is funny.
No, you would hear the jokes that those people
Oh,
think are
I,
funny at
oh,
a barbershop.
got you. Yeah. Oh, hack. I got into a discussion with a friend of mine. She was in town and we were talking comedy, and she thinks Tony Rock is funnier than Chris Rock. I almost stopped being friends with her.
I've seen Tony Rock live a couple of times. I would not agree with her assessment of Tony being funnier than Chris. Obviously, uh, there's a reason why Tony is where Tony's at and Chris is where Chris is at. Um, I think Tony's funny. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's as funny as his brother. You know,
I know some people take exception because Chris never, as I hear it told by other people, he never just he never laid the pavement with bricks of gold for his brother to walk on. Um, he made him have to earn it on his own. He didn't crack every door open for him. And I know some people have
Eddie
taken
Murphy did the same thing.
right. And excuse me. And I know some people have been upset with Chris because he hasn't done that Wayans thing. I think the Wayans have done the exact opposite. If you have that last name Wayans, they're going to crack that door open for you one way or the other. I think you're going to get a little bit further along than you would if your last name wasn't Wayans. But Chris didn't, as I'm told, Chris didn't do anything like that for Tony. And some people take exception to it.
But you got to look at it from Tony's perspective. Do you really want that though? I mean, look how watered down the Wayans product is because they're all doing it. You know, Damon Wayans is a beast on stage, but you
Mm-hmm.
go and watch Marlon or Sean, and you're like, what the fuck is this? You
Mm-hmm.
know, so there's a standard that you're supposed to have. I'm not saying Tony Rock falls short of Chris's standard because I do think Tony Rock is funny, but at the same time, when you flip it over to the Wayans, Keenan's an incredible director and writer. His stand up's not anything to write home about. Damon is, to me, he's probably the most successful out of all the Wayans brothers because he has the total package. He can act, he can do stand up. He's an incredible writer. And then you look at the two younger brothers, Sean and Marlon. Their show was fun. You know, it's a good slapstick humor, but nobody's putting those two guys in any top five list of stand up comics. So, you know, yes, it's cool to help your family out, but at the same time, I feel like they need to earn it. And if they don't earn it on their own, I feel like you kind of get the the product of the Wayans with Sean and Marlon, and to a lesser extent, Damon Jr.
I would agree with a lot of that. Before we get out of here, I want to make sure we touch on everyone's comments here if we can towards the end. Says that panel was horrible, but I guess Chris is friends with Dana and David, but they shouldn't have been on there. And what the fuck was Kareem there for?
That's to Miko.
Tamiko, I'm glad she's back. Tamiko, that is the biggest thing. Why was Kareem on this panel? When he came out, it was awkward to see him cover backstage. When he walked out, and no disrespect to this man, because he is a legend, and I am a basketball nut. But when this man came from behind the curtain, he looked like he was lost. Like you want to walk up to him and say, "Sir, can I help you find your car?" He
I
looked
was I was
completely lost.
I was trying to go to the bathroom. Could someone? You want me to sit here?
And there was no control of the conversation. Like there was no one but Arsenio to kind of rein JB in, because JB does get on these long threads. He starts smoothing out.
It's one of those things where Arsenio had his own talk show. Why wouldn't you have him host it and then have David and Dana be there
That's
to
what I
like?
thought.
That made no sense to me. Especially the way Dana Carvey just sat there. I was like, yeah, y'all go ahead and talk. I'm gonna collect this check because I ain't done shit since Turtle. Like,
Dana, Dana and Dave look like y'all not about to fuck up the rest of my career. Y'all gonna have this black conversation if you want to. When Dana started doing the Barack impersonation, David looked like he wanted to say, "Cut that shit out." What are you?
it was the most uncalled for friggin' impersonation. Like, what?
I think old girl. I don't think she had the reverence for Dana's career because I believe she told him it was bad. So I don't think she had the reverence for his talent. I don't think she ever watched Saturday Night Live back in Nigeria. Because she was like, that was not good.
They kept bringing that up. Like, nah, you from Nigeria. I'm like, who gives a fuck? What does that have to do with anything?
Well, Arsenio was trying to be the talk show host, and he was trying to keep it going, because he picked up on what you and I picked up on. Y'all should not have picked these two dudes to sit center spot and try to have this conversation. And I don't know
It
what my man
was.
was doing at the top of the show.
I didn't even watch that part because I watched. I came to the special about 20 minutes late, and so I watched from like 10:20 till the end, and then I sat through that awful post show, and then I went to go back to rewatch the first 20 minutes, and it's like it had all that pre-show stuff. I was like, if it's anything like this post show was, I'm not even gonna waste my time. I just skipped it.
It was better, but not much. But that post show, it was just awkward. It was a nice car crash to kind of slow down and watch for a second. Ricky says Dennis Leary is a joke thief and still not funny. All right. Facebook user says he definitely seemed emotional. Yep. Facebook user says I feel for him. He did, and I mean he said bitch hard as hell, didn't he? And I was like, ooh, he mad, mad.
So those two comments before were Mary Ballard. That last one was Tamiko.
I hate to do this because Tamika, Mary, I love that these guys are worth at least $1. But Tamika's been breaking it. Tamika's got to knock you off the wall with this one. That was good. He mad, man. All right. He had to save all that for the live show. Sydney, your friend, is wrong. Absolutely, she is. Damon is hilarious. He's definitely funny. And I mean in the audience, okay, but on the panel, right? And then last comment here, I don't understand why she was there either. Maybe because she's a new comic. I don't know. She has a special on HBO, I think. Does she? Okay, I didn't know that. Maybe that's what it is.
I didn't know she was a comic at all.
I
She
just
didn't
know
say
from Insecure.
anything. She didn't say anything funny on the panel. So it was weird. First of all, there were too many people up there. You don't need six people up there. Kareem didn't add anything to the conversation. I mean, it wasn't like we were talking about civil rights and justices or something. Like I could understand if he was up there for that, but this is a Chris Rock special. What the fuck are we getting Kareem's? You know what it reminded me of when Dave Chappelle was like, "Where's Ja?" Like,
I don't know why Kareem was up there. It's like someone yelled into a microphone. First six people that can sit down can be on this panel. I don't know. All right. Let's go to our next topic. Thank you guys very much. Again, click that share button. Oh my God. Thank you guys for hanging in there with us. Next topic. Let me see if I can collect myself here. Mid Vermont Christian School decided that they were not going to play basketball against another high school. Decided they were going to just forfeit the game because the other school had a transgender female part of the team. Dion, I kind of remember what you said when we talked about this a little while ago, but I am interested in hearing your full thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on this high school deciding to forfeit a basketball game? And let me go ahead and actually, because I did make sure I pulled this up, what they had said the reasoning was. I hate this phone. I hate this phone. I
well,
thought I had it back. Go ahead. Go ahead.
as you're looking to pull that up, I'll say this: high school sports is supposed to be teaching
There it is. I'm sorry.
leadership.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. There it
Go
is.
ahead.
The head of Mid Vermont Christian School said, playing against an opponent with a biological male jeopardizes the fairness of the game and the safety of our players. Go ahead.
Again, it's high school sports. You're supposed to learn about leadership and adversity and camaraderie, team building, those types of things. The outcomes of those games don't generally matter in the grand scheme of things. Like it's not like you get a huge prize at the end of the tournaments or whatever, you know. So if if this was the girls' decision on the team, if they all got together and was like, look, we don't want to do this, I wouldn't have any problem with it. But if this comes down from the coaching staff or the administrators or the parents, that's where I draw the line. You don't even give these girls the opportunity to compete to find out just because this person has transitioned into a girl doesn't mean that they're any good at basketball. Was she starting? Was she averaging 40 a game? It's not like she was LeBron James or something like that. So if the girls on the team don't want to play against her for whatever reason, I don't have a problem with that. But anybody else who's got something to say about it, to me, I just think that's bullshit. And if all the girls on the other team are okay with this girl uh, being on the team, I don't have a problem with it either. I think this whole transgender issue is so blown out of proportion because it's such a small thing that we're making so much bigger than it has to be. To me, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
First thing you said that I thought about just she just out there catching the ball in the post, just,
It's not like she's Shaq
just,
dunking on Chris Dudley.
turn, just turning, power moving, one power dribble. That's it. I I will say I probably agree with the school that declined to play. I do draw the line as of today, unless we can figure some way around it, which I right now cannot see it. If anyone out there can come up with a solution, I'm more than happy to read it if you guys want to throw something up there. But even though you want to say that you are not a male, you are a female, I understand you have every right for that. Genetically, you're still a male. Your frame is that of still a young man, not of a young lady. Your strength is going to be different compared. Your speed is going to be different, generally speaking. So I don't know how I would feel about my own daughter playing against someone under those conditions. So I can see and I can completely understand. I can see it when. All right, folks. Sorry about that. Just wait for see if Dion gets back on with us. I'm gonna shoot him a text. Oddly enough, my dog was playing in the other room and bumped the server, and not the server, but bumped the modem, and there you go. So I'm gonna give Dion a quick call.
Yo,
I'm back. I'm back up, bro.
all right. Send the invite. It says I'm waiting for the host, so
All right, I'll send you another one.
okay.
All right. Again, my apologies, folks. Sorry about that. We're gonna get Dion back on. Not sure where you guys lost me, so forgive me. Oh boy. There we go. I'll put that there. I'm gonna read some comments here while we wait for Dion. So, you guys have something that you want to throw out there? I want to hear about it. Again, my apologies for the interruption. All right. Someone says here, Facebook, you says we lost you where you said you're not sure you'd want your daughter competing against them. So thank you very much. The dog's name is Mo. She is an 11th month puppy who's very energetic, very energetic. All right, I'm gonna bring Dion back in. All right, bro. Yeah, so the wife and Mo were playing in the other room, and Mo ran over and hit the TV cabinet or whatever, and hit the server, or the modem rather, and knocked us offline. So that's what happened.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry about that, guys.
So this
Thought
dog's
I
got to
thought
go to
them
the
trans
Humane
people.
Society.
I thought them trans people came knocking on your door. You said you want to quit basketball, but you about to quit life.
So thank you for letting me know where I was. I don't, Dion. I'm not sure how much you caught what I said. Did you caught? It seems like they caught up to where I said if it was my daughter.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Okay, so if it was my daughter, I'm not sure if I would want my daughter playing against a transgender female for the reasons that I gave. One, I'm not sure it's going to be a fair game. Two, yes, you may be a transgender female and your choice, obviously, but you are still physically a male. And with that, there comes certain things, there comes certain advantages to that. And the third thing would be, I don't know what the solution is. Again, if anyone there may have it, I'm all ears to hear it. But if you decide that you want to, for whatever reason, that you're going to be a boy or you're going to be a girl, there has to be some consequences to it. For all of us, for every decision that we make, just about, there is a consequence to it. And I don't think that you get to say, hey, I'm not this, I'm that, so I'm making a change. And there's not something that has to come with it. It can't be that the whole world is going to bend and reshape itself because of that. Yeah.
If it was wrestling, I'd understand. If it was UFC, I'd understand. If it was boxing, I'd understand. Some type of martial art, I'd understand. It's basketball. Is the kid any, does the kid suck? If the kid sucks, it don't matter if he's biologically
Doesn't
male. If
say.
the nigga can't
Doesn't say.
dribble, can't
Doesn't
he?
say.
Because okay. So again, if the kid isn't any good, their biological advantages are null and void because you
That
could
that's
be
not
seven
true.
foot tall and
That's not
still
true because if you can be a male playing a male biologically male, born male, I'm not even sure how to even say it. If anyone out there wants to correct me or teach me, I'm all ears. Not true. You can not be a good basketball player and still be on the court to set picks and things like that. And a girl running into someone who's not a girl and hitting those picks. Hell, I'm a grown man. I played basketball my entire life. I've hit picks, especially blindsided by picks. They hurt. I've been put on the ground by a couple of them. So, and I'm a boy at the time playing against other boys or playing against bigger boys, and a man
look,
playing against
man.
bigger men.
I'm about to call you Sydney Stretch Armstrong because that was the biggest stretch to make an excuse as
No,
to
it
why
wasn't.
this
No, I
this
was
kid
just
couldn't play basketball.
okay.
The idea that
Okay.
they're setting groundbreaking screens on these young girls to the point where it's going to cause long-term damage or the percentage of that happening is so minusculely low that even if it did happen,
Mm-hmm.
say it happened once every 4 or 5 games, I still would be like, if the girls want to play, let them play. It is it going to the extreme to rebut something that isn't a big deal is ridiculous to me in my opinion. If I had a daughter and she wanted to play basketball against any and all comers, because we didn't have a problem when there were girls making the men's football team in high school to kick field goals and whatnot. There was no this huge outcry of people saying, "Oh, you
Actually,
shouldn't let girls play."
well, actually,
If she's
in
good
my area
enough
where
to
I grew up, there was a huge outcry for girls who wanted to play basketball. I'm sorry, football or wrestle. Actually, there was. So just to correct you.
if you're good enough to play, let them play. Now again, I understand the quote unquote biological advantage, but if, like I said, if that kid ain't shacking, if they're not out there LeBron Jamesing, I don't see what the issue is. You know, you're costing your school all the $13 they were going to make in the concessions at that girl's game because don't
I knew
nobody
you
go
were
to
gonna say
watch them
that.
anyway.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Like it just to me it's such a non-issue. If they swimming, if they jogging, it's cross country. Like it doesn't matter at the end of the day. You're to me it's weak to say I don't want to play because there's a chance that this person might have an advantage. Well, y'all could have played that game and y'all all are hitting threes and this other team's just turning the ball over left and right. You never know what's going to happen until you actually put yourself in that situation. So I'm of the mindset that, man, let the talent sort it out and be done with it.
I do see something here I wanted to touch on before we get out of here, and we are going to get out of here very shortly. Facebook user here at the bottom says, Being transgender, he's likely smaller than most of the girls he's playing against. Not sure how
Mary
you,
Ballard said that.
Mary. How did you get to that point? I'm interested in knowing how did you come to that? How did you get to that deduction? Um, yeah, again, I don't know if I'm for it. I'm not going to say I'm not for it for the reason that I would deduce that this school is not for it, just in the title of the school. Um, so I'm
What was
not
the name
against
of
it
the
for that.
school again?
It just Christian was in there.
Okay.
So Mid Vermont Christian School is the name of the school. So I'm sure that has something to play in it there. But again, I do think that since Mary, I'm not sure that's true at all. So, okay, someone else jumps in behind her.
Susie said, Mary, I'm not sure that's true at all. Again, if the kid sucks, it's not going to make that big of a difference. Now, if you're out there running screens and the people they're setting screens for can't shoot, let them just go underneath the screen. There's ways of getting around physical disadvantages on the basketball court. So the idea that this student is so much stronger than all the girls and is going to go out there and dominate. I don't know what the kid looks like physically. To me, it doesn't really fucking matter because at the end of the day, there's four other people on the court that have to make plays. So
See, this is where
again, unless it's like Joanna Man, where it's out there just dunking
not
on
you all
people,
here.
and you know what I mean? It's like let her. It's high school basketball.
Mary Mary says she could be playing against bigger girls and get her ass beat. It's just a matter of talent, no matter what. Not
That was
true.
Elsie Scott.
That was Elsie. I don't agree with that at all, Elsie. Not at all. And then coming behind it says most of the transgender male to female people I know are barely 120 pounds soaking wet. Look, there's some of those out there, and then there are some who are not. We've seen some of those who are not. Again, to use the most recent because it was in the news here late last year, was the male transgendering to female swimmer. That dude was much larger than the females. So, I think it just differs depending. Just referencing the transgender people I know. I got you. I got you. Nothing wrong with that. Again, we don't have a whole lot of information about this young lady, and nor should we, and nor did I think we would. I mean, he, they are in high school. Larry says, shocking. It's a Christian school. All right. Thank you guys for watching. We're going to get out of here. This show was another bumpy one. We got to figure this out here. I figured this is our second bumpy one in a month, and I'm not really caring for it. And this dog is on her way to the Humane Society. So there'll be no pictures for whoever said they want those. Actually, she'll be fine. My mother or my wife will leave me if I let something happen to that dog. Dion, you ready to go with yours?
Before I do that, are we doing what the hell or
Yeah, what the hell?
we're
What
doing
the
what the
hell?
hell, right?
Yep.
Okay, before I do that, Susie has a comment here. She says, my
Oh,
transgender granddaughter is 6'4", weighs close to 200 pounds, and wears a size 14 shoe. His wingspan is broader. Not many 23-year-old biological girls are that size. Okay, now that's an adult. So I think there's a difference between adults and children. Again, it's high school sports, so the outcomes don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's not like you know, jobs are on the line and so forth. So with that, it's to me it's apples to oranges.
I
One
don't think
last
so.
thing,
I don't think so. I think Miss Susie makes a great point, and yes, while her granddaughter is an adult, that is still a transgender individual, and you put that individual side by side with someone else, that is a larger person.
which is why I put the caveat in there. It's one thing if they're out there shacking. It's another thing if they're not any good and they're just trying to be on the team for being on team's sake. We all know those kids. Hell, they made a movie called Rudy where the dude didn't. He was on the at school for 4 years, didn't play until the kickoff in the final game of the season. So it's not like this person is out there changing the world. So
If this kid gets off the bench at all, it matters. If this kid is like some kids are who are just on the team and these kids never play except for in practice, I'm with you. But if this kid gets off the bench for 1 minute to play 1 minute, that changes everything. That changes everything
So
because anything
are
can
you going to
happen.
forfeit? Are you going to forfeit the game when they let the kid that has Down syndrome go out there and play basketball because there's a disadvantage there? So the idea that a simple disadvantage that if this kid identifies as a female that used to be male that identifies as female. I don't see any difference between that and you guys trotting out the kid with Down syndrome who shoots threes and everybody cheers for, or hell, even the old man who's playing flag football and all the people are letting him run to the end zone. To me, it's the same fucking thing.
I'm calling you Dion Stretch Armstrong because you stretch mightily. Down syndrome kids, old men playing flag football. You, oh, all right,
It's the same thing, man. It's the
all
same
right,
thing.
all right. That's why I love you. That's why the show's called Not as Debatable. Miss Susie, you made a great point. Great point. I like it. I like it. Strong. Miss Susie came back strong.
She also said she's pro mo. So how about that?
I'm afraid of Miss Susie. So strong, Miss Susie. That'd never make the wall. I'm promo. where, where are you gonna? And I'm gonna throw a picture. I'm gonna put a picture of Mo up in the group. I think someone said they wanted to see it, so I will put one up. Dion, what is your uh, what the hell?
My what the hell is up with our candidates, man, for running for president over there? Uh,
You stole
Nikki
mine.
Haley, Donald Trump. I'm sorry. Over the weekend with CPAC, and I just watching clips of that train wreck of just
Every year.
a conglomerate of terrible ideas and stupid takes. It's just like, oh my goodness, it's so hard to be pro America when you got people like this trying to be in charge of things. It's like, oh my god, Donald Trump said some of the dumbest stuff I've ever heard. And it's just like, why do we keep, like, what is it about this man that's got people so encaptured? What the hell is going on? I don't understand it. Somebody help me figure it out.
I think what we're missing, and Miss Susie can probably speak to it more or better than I can if she's still with us. I remember a time, and I hate to say start any sentence that way because it makes me sound old as hell. But I do remember a
Do
time.
you remember Sid?
Whoa! All right. I do. I remember. I do remember a time when we did have real politicians that actually had personalities. They actually had charisma, and believe it or not, somewhere inside of them, they actually cared about making a difference. This is like I don't know if anyone out there have watched it yet. That show Yellow Jackets, which to me is like a female version of Lord of the Flies. This is what this seems like to me at times that we're dealing with when it comes to what's going on. And the biggest thing I would say, none of them have a basis of belief in anything. It's all about running for class president like we did back in school, in high school. Uh, we gonna get more hot lunches. I want more candy bars and all homework. Who wouldn't vote for that guy? So this is all we have is a
One
bunch.
nerd in the corner.
What's
One
that?
nerd in the corner. You can't get rid of homework. What am I gonna do after school?
Right. But everybody, yeah, I got that. Though that doesn't make sense, and there's no way you're gonna be able to pull that off. But you can't tell these other high school students who want to vote for this kid that he does not have a good platform. That's all these people care about now. How low do I have to stoop? I will because I'm trying to get this high school kids to make me class president because I don't know. I want that special chair in the lunchroom, and that's just what it looks like to me. These aren't real politicians anymore. These are a bunch of kids run for class president. Let's see here. Facebook user says it's okay if we don't agree. It's a touchy subject, but I watch a lot of women's college basketball. Some of the girls dominate, same as transgender may or may not dominate. It's a game and they deserve to play. I'm not sure who said that, but thank you for.
Elsie Scott.
Okay, Elsie. All right. Okay. Kathleen K says, "Hey guys, I'm gonna have to catch the replay. We had robotics and the youngest had driver's training. The late night here. No worries, Kathleen. We got a whole crew. You got over the stuff to do, so no worries." And then Facebook user says, "A time when their respect and candor and politicians work for us. These people are bought and sold and work for themselves and their cronies." I'm assuming that's Miss Susie.
Yes.
Yes. Great way to put that, Miss Susie. All right. So you're what the hell was a politician? I was headed in that direction, actually. Now I'm trying to do my best off the cuff to see where I can go next because I was headed in that way in that direction too. Because Ron DeSantis is absolutely. There's no way I would vote for this man. I came to that decision today. Uh, the only other decision I need to make is if it was him and Trump. Uh, who am I pulling for, or am I doing what I would do when the Buckeyes play most anybody? Just hope that the stadium collapses on top of itself. So
Jesus.
that's how much I hate that state of Ohio, man. I do not care for that state of Ohio. Yeah, but you got me. You got me there. It's just a different time. Politics is different. The politicians are different. It's so hard to get behind anyone. I used to be a political junkie. I still love it, but not the way I used to because Dion and I send the stuff back and forth. And most of the stuff Dion sends me is from Marjorie Taylor Greene because she's usually in the news. And the stuff they let her get away with and say, and now she's in a leadership position in Congress, I'm a little beside myself with that entire party. I feel like we're going to be right back where we were come 2024 or later this year leading into 2024.
I hate to agree with you, but you're right when you're right. It's you made a very poignant point about it being class president. It is literally a popularity contest now. Who can say the most egregious things to get more people to be like, yeah, I don't like that boogeyman over there. And it's this is the weakest time for Democrats. I don't understand why they are not crushing these. Like it should not be hard to beat a Lauren Boebert. It should not be hard to beat a Marjorie Failure Greene. It should not be hard to get rid of Ron DeSantis. So
But you
with
say
all
this a
the
lot.
tricks that they're doing with the
You say this
I
a
was gonna say with
lot.
all the tricks they're doing and making voting harder, I can but still candidate wise, the Democrats should be crushing. Like it should not be hard.
The problem, and we saw it on the last cycle, was that the Democrats could not figure out who they wanted to get behind and not get behind. They lost a couple of seats because they couldn't figure out where they wanted to send that money to. Uh, they lost an area. I can't remember the name of the candidate's name. He was an incumbent. He had no business losing, but they didn't dump the money in behind him as they should have. They lost in Ohio for that same reason. Tim Ryan lost in Ohio, I want to say, for that exact same reason. They never got behind him with the money, which I thought was odd because Ohio, if any other state within that Midwest area, is a state that I would have thought that they would want to have boots on the ground come 2024, but they didn't. But you do have to, even with the redistricting, the gerrymandering that's been happening over the last couple of years, and this is a fair and balanced show. Fox News may be off, so we may be able to just take that and run with that soon. This is a fair and balanced show. The Democrats have done some gerrymandering themselves over the years when they've been in power. So I don't, as much as they want to make it seem like it's just a Republican thing, it's not just a Republican thing. It does go back and forth both ways. Whoever's in power wants to take advantage, and that's just the way it is. But when it comes to the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and the Boberts of the world, going to a point that you have made, I think we underestimate how many people there are in this country who believe what they believe, and especially those that live within the areas that they're representing. Though Boebert was this close to losing, she was this close.
I thought she did lose at first, and they did the recount.
Hmm.
She squeaked it out. It's embarrassing. Like it's not even anything policy wise. I mean, because we can argue policy all day long, but the person instilling the policy should matter. Lauren Boebert is not a good person. She's not a leader. I wouldn't follow her into a grocery store, let alone let her set policies that are going to affect my life. Marjorie Taylor Greene is the biggest hypocrite out of all those people. She talks about Christian values, been cheating on her husband the whole fucking time they've been together. She's just a clown of a human being. She's allegedly the person that planted those pipe bombs. So it's this whole, we need to divorce and get safe spaces for. It's like you were just saying how much you hated snowflakes for needing safe spaces at college campuses, and now you're trying to divide the states up. I cannot understand for the life of me how people can listen to these people talk and be like, "Ooh, I agree with this." Like it doesn't make any sense.
It's because it's almost like watching or getting into an argument with someone, and all they do is hear the one thing you said, and that's what they grab onto. The hell with everything else you said within a 2 hour argument or 2 hour discussion. They find the one thing. And what the people who follow these folks who started following Trump figured out was, or heard was, it's not your fault. And I said this before when it came to Adolf Hitler. People, I remember black people used to get upset with me because I would put Farrakhan within the same sentence with Hitler. Leaders like them take advantage of that group of people who want someone to blame. It's not your fault you're in this situation, it's their fault. It's not your fault you're in this situation, it's their fault. And Trump did that with a large group of this country who have been Democrats their whole life. That's the thing that gets me. Rural America, Caucasian people have primarily been Democrats their entire life. Vote Democrat up and down the ticket without fail. They are not Republicans. They are not.
Where?
Where what?
Where are these rural Democrats you're talking about? What part of the country?
I said throughout the country, but I'm talking about mainly in the Midwest.
Nah, I don't believe that at all.
I don't know why you wouldn't believe that. The numbers say so. And the
Because I
poli-
look at
and
the map, I look at the map, and
yeah,
all the farming states are red as hell.
no. The Midwest, rural areas of the Midwest, Democrats. That
The
is the big
only
portion. Go ahead.
Midwestern state is Illinois.
That's the only Midwestern state. Is that what you said?
That is blue. Yeah, it's Illinois.
Okay. All right.
Sometimes Michigan.
We'll talk the numbers. We'll talk the numbers next week.
Okay,
I don't know you've been missing them for the last 6 years. The show's over. That's it. I can't talk to you.
that's debatable.
Oh, we're gonna debate
Thank you
it.
guys for checking out another episode. Make sure you join the Patreon. Sydney, if you could run that scrolling at the bottom one more
What
time
I'm
for
working.
all
What
of
I'm
our
working for you now
awesome.
over here, sucker. What you over here?
We
Over here?
working for each other, brother. You think I come on here to hear myself talk? No, I come on here.
Shut up. Shut up. Yeah, Dion is right though. As Mary said, we're worth at least $1. So go to the website, click the Patreon link button, and it'll take you straight there. We got some really good stuff actually that we are throwing out there if you want to take a step above $1. But we're happy with that dollar too. Dion, I love you, man. You're wrong a lot, but I love you.
I love you too, and you're wrong more. So appreciate you having me on once again. I might not see y'all next week because this after show is about to be heated.
When you gonna quit? Is that why you're not gonna be on next week?
Nah, I'm not quitting.
Facebook users here before we got says that's the problem with Trump. If we get a shit show candidate, people vote the best of two evils. Absolutely correct there. I know I did that when I voted for Hillary. I bit my tongue so I could taste blood and voted for Hillary Clinton. Facebook user says if they nominate Biden, we're doomed. Tired old rich white guys jerking us around, more worried about drag queens than economics and medical crisis. I will say this: the least of the two evils, and I'm anxious to see it if he decides to run, is going to be Trump and DeSantis. I'm interested to see how they play that out. And then Facebook user says, "Thank you guys. Have a great week. Love you guys too. We appreciate you." Tamiko, you were last on the wall, so boom. Let's see if you can do it again for the rest of the month. Don't forget, guys. Have a good week. I don't know. It's an awkward show tonight.
See you guys.